Hello, America. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425 should you wish to be on the program. I see someone, Benjamin, on social media saying, wow, man, I started listening because I respected your moderation, but you've jumped the shark. Nope, you just haven't been listening. You've been hearing what you wanted to hear. The fact of the matter is, I feel very strongly that the left puts itself in a protective bubble where the left convinces itself it is pure as the driven snow and everyone else is a Nazi. So now I want to talk about how do we on the right fight the left. I wrote about this some this morning because I'm a little bit concerned with some thinking creeping in, and I'm going to cite Matt Walsh for this. Let me read you his tweet. I cannot unite with the left because they want me dead. They will spit on my grave when I die and laugh in the faces of my wife and children. There can be no unity with such people, but I will unite with anyone on the right. I hereby discard any grudge or personal feud I may have had with anyone on my side. Maybe we will pick up those arguments sometime in the future. Now we have to stand together. Sounds like a great sentiment, right? What about the anti-Semites? What about the anti-Semites? Because they exist on the right. The Candace Owenses of the world. What about them? What about the neo-Nazis? The Nick Fuentes Groypers, the white nationalists, they support Donald Trump. They're not on the left. Now, what's going to happen is some people on the right are going to say, well, they're on the left. No, they're actually on the right. Are you going to be quiet about them? See, one of the problems with this thinking is that you're not paying attention to why the left has gone insane and why we've been winning. You do realize we control the White House, the Senate, the House of Representatives, and a majority of the states. We have a trifecta in more states than the Democrats that do, that is complete control of the legislature and the governorship. Why? Redistricting plays a role in it, and we'll get to that, but also the left has gone completely insane because they haven't policed their own side. See, the left has embraced this thinking, no enemy to the left of me. It's actually a philosophical statement. I forget who came up with it, but it was embraced years ago by the left that no one to the left of me is my enemy. And as a result, the left has embraced more and more crazy. And that has emboldened Black and Hispanic voters to move to the right. When the left gets more and more crazy, they're welcome to their anti-Semites, they're welcome to their own racists, they're welcome to their paternalist white folks who say, well, we need illegal aliens to take care of my grandmother because I don't want to. That turns off Black and Hispanic voters and they move to the right. So now if you take Matt Walsh's position, I don't mean to pick on Matt. He's just the one who articulated it. I like Matt, but he's the one who articulated it. If you don't police the anti-Semites and the neo-Nazis on your side, what are the Black and the Hispanic and the Jewish voters when they get to the right going to find? A whole lot of people who hate them, just like on the left. So push the bad elements out of the Republican Party, police your own side, and don't wind up crazy like the left. I want to give you two stories to back me up here. I know a number of people, including a lot of women, who were pro-abortion advocates. They became pro-life because they were affected by the quiet Christians praying outside abortion clinics, some of whom were willing to walk with them in life, witness to them, minister to them, pray for them, and take care of them. I know women who went to crisis pregnancy centers, who wanted abortions, who were shown the heartbeat of their child and became pro-life through the quiet work of the pro-life community, walking with them, loving them, not hating them, not judging them. They turned a lot of people to the cause. I also know people who became militantly pro-abortion after violence at abortion clinics, shootings of doctors, bombings. Some of the most ardent pro-abortion advocates in this country are people who couldn't have cared about the issue until an abortion clinic was bombed or a doctor was murdered by an insane, zealous person from the right. The violence that was done did more harm than good. Think about Charlie Kirk. How many Charlie Kirks woke up on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? Because they saw violence. They saw a man, a father, a husband assassinated solely because of his political views. Because someone hated his political views, Charlie Kirk was assassinated. How many people woke up over the weekend and said, you know what, I'm Charlie Kirk now? Radicalized to the right because of the hate from the left. Now, there are people on the right who say, I'm going to go out and I'm going to do the left what the left has done to me. Instead of the golden rule, I'm going to do to them what I want them to do to me. You're using the black-hearted rule of I'm doing to them what they've done to me. Vengeance is mine, says the Lord. You know, it is a human rule. Revenge is part of humanity. Christianity actually says, turn the other cheek. God's going to take revenge for you. Let God take revenge. You go love your neighbor. It's very counterintuitive. Very counterintuitive. You want to go take revenge, and if you're a Christian, God says, no, I'm going to take revenge for you. You go love your neighbor. Let me tell you another story. There's a very famous black radical in American history. In fact, he wrote in his autobiography that he was such a black nationalist radical, he wore out the pages of the autobiography of Malcolm X. He read it over and over and over and over, became sympathetic to the Black Panthers, the black militant movement in the country, hated white people, went to a Catholic university, and by the time he got out of this Catholic university, hated white people, had a chip on his shoulder against society, went off to Yale Law School and was going to take on the white privilege of the world. He was going to be in the vein of Thurgood Marshall, but more radical than Thurgood Marshall. He was going to take on the Malcolm X philosophy in life until one day he lost his wallet. Now, if you're a poor black student from the South in the world of Ivy League white privilege and you lose your wallet, you've lost your world. You've lost everything. His whole world was in his wallet. And a conservative white student, the antithesis of everything this black radical hated in life, everything, he was the antithesis of this guy. He was the enemy to this black radical, a white conservative Christian. Everything he hated was this man who found his wallet. And what did this white conservative Christian student do? Tracked down the black radical and gave him his wallet back with everything in it and didn't want a reward or anything else. And it was that small act of kindness that began stirring in that guy's heart. Can you imagine how American history would be different had Clarence Thomas never found his wallet that day? Yeah. The black radical who wanted to live his life like Malcolm X, you know him as Justice Clarence Thomas. And the man who found his wallet, you know as Ambassador John Bolton, now being investigated by the federal government over classified intelligence. That makes for a funny side story there. But yeah, it was John Bolton, white Christian conservative student who found Clarence Thomas's wallet, gave it back to him, and Clarence Thomas realized that not all white people must be as evil as I thought. And it began working in his heart, and he became a devout Catholic, left behind black radicalism, and is now the most conservative member of the United States Supreme Court. Would not have been that way had his wallet not gotten lost and then found by someone whose worldview collided with his own. There are people on the right who think we need to meet violence with violence on the left. No, you meet violence with love. It's completely counterintuitive. Don't be like the left. I keep hearing people say we need to be like the left. We need to be like the left. I don't know if y'all paid attention or not, but we've been winning a lot by not being like the left. We've policed our own. We've shunned the anti-Semites. We've condemned them. We've shunned the neo-Nazis, the Nick Fuenteses of the world. We've shunned them, alienated them from the party. Now is not the time to welcome radicals into the right. We've been winning without them. We will become like the left if we start embracing this everyone to the right of me is my friend and everyone to the left of me is my enemy. When you treat the left as your enemy, and by the way, they do hate us and they're fine with us dying. When you treat them the way they treat us, there's no way for you to enact in any of their hearts something like what happened to Clarence Thomas. When you're praying for them, praying for your enemy, God tells you to pray for your enemy. When you pray for your enemy, you might convert them. Think of all the women who became pro-life because of the activists who prayed for them at abortion clinics. They didn't beat them up. They didn't harass them. They didn't yell at them, baby murderer. I know a lot of people on the right who say the other side is evil. I'm like, they think you're evil. Like, what about abortion? I think abortion is evil as well. I think abortion is absolutely evil. But I also think that I'm a sinner too. And I think that when I look at the other side like they do to me and say, well, they're evil, that's what they're doing to me. I look at them and say, yeah, you people are evil, but I, like you, am a sinner fallen and gone astray. I'm not going to hate them the way they hate me. So what do? Well, first of all, I think that there is every incentive for Republicans now, given the level of hate and contempt we're seeing from the left, to work like hell on redistricting. I do not want these people back in power. They need to wander in the wilderness for a good long time to see just how radicalized they've become and how hate-filled they are. So we need to redistrict every Republican state possible to make sure that we have padded our margins for the coming midterms to hopefully keep these people from taking back the House of Representatives. And we need to rally like hell to find really good candidates for the U.S. Senate. It's one reason I'm not a big fan of Ken Paxton running in Texas, because I think he can win the primary, but I think he's going to alienate a lot of people in the general with his corruption and his adultery and everything else. I think that we've got an easier time with John Cornyn, even though I don't particularly care for John Cornyn. I don't think he's much of a fighter for the right. I frankly think that Ken Paxton's going to cost us so much money to get him elected. And by the way, we can get him elected, but all the dollars that we got to spend to get Ken Paxton elected is going to be dollars we can't spend defeating John Ossoff in Georgia or Roy Cooper in North Carolina or picking off other states. We've got to hold the Senate. We have to play our cards right. We've got to find good candidates in these states. We've got to rally behind these candidates. We've got to turn out the vote. And frankly, I think Charlie Kirk needs to be a rallying call. All these young voters who are sitting on the sidelines, do you really want the people who cheered on the assassination of American in power? You need to go vote for the right. Because I do think the left right now, in fact, I'm watching it on the TV screen behind my camera, behind my microphone. I'm watching on CNN playing up, well, all the hate on the right. And look, I mean, Donald Trump does this too. Donald Trump did not assassinate anybody. A left-wing radical assassinated Charlie Kirk, and there's a concerted effort to deny that a left-wing radical is who assassinated him. We've got to redistrict these people out of power. We've got to demand justice. We've got to demand justice. We've got to make our streets safe. We've got to show the American people on the fence that we're not violent like the left, and we can govern unlike the left, and we can keep them safe unlike the left. And by the way, side note here, that's one reason I'm worried about the economy, because there are a lot of weakness undercurrent and a lot of it tied to tariffs, and many people on the right don't want to acknowledge it. They refuse to admit it. If the economy goes bonkers, the left gets an advantage next year. That's why I think we got to do everything to stabilize the economy. And Donald Trump's first-term policies were far more stabilizing and economically helpful than the second-term policies with tariffs. I'm really scared about a lot of people who only care about their comfort, and if the economy goes belly up for some reason, they're going to vote for the left, crazy and all. That's why I'm worried. And wish the president would change course on that. Friends, you win more friends with love than hate. You attract more with honey than vinegar. The left is full of vinegar right now. I don't think we should allow onto our side the hate that is there that does exist on the right, we should be clear-eyed and truthful about it. There is hate on the right and on the left. The left thinks it's only on the right. And the left refuses to police itself, and it's festering and drawing out violent tendencies, the anti-Semites, the assassins of people who disagree with them. That's why I think we should be encouraging people, businesses, to fire those who cheered on the assassination. You may not like Charlie Kirk, and I don't care if you said something not nice about Charlie Kirk, but to say he gets what he deserved, no American deserves death for views you disagree with. That should be like foundational to American society. And anyone who thinks so, particularly a teacher, I don't want you near my kids. A doctor, I don't think you should be near patients. The way to fight, though, is not the way the left fights. It's to fight smarter, to fight differently, to fight better, and to fight with hope. And give people hope that we're not like the left, and we will continue to beat the left at the ballot box, which is where this country's future must be decided, not with bullets, but with